Welcome to Backyard Cigars. This here is the Arturo Fuente Anejo Reserva number 60. Measuring in at 6 1/4 by 48, considered a Corona Gorda. This is also a very popular Vitola size. And this particular cigar has a bit of a story. But first, let me tell you about the specs. It has a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, and the filler and the binder are from the Dominican Republic. Of course, this is one of these hard to find rare cigars. It's not expensive. I got it for $12. But if you look online, as I did a few minutes ago, just to see the availability, it's almost impossible to find it, whether you buy it in a single or the whole box. So as you can see, it comes with a cedar sheath, and this cedar sheath is easily removed, and what you see is a very smooth Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, very deep brown color to it, some veins, some toothiness, but overall a very fine looking smooth cigar. Now this cigar has been aged in my humidor, and it's been in my humidor for 2 years and about 3 months at a 64-65 RH. I think sometimes they hit 66, but basically this was aged because, well, a lot of people were saying if you get them, especially half wheel as well mentioned, put them down for a year. I figured why not? It won't hurt. I had to separate it from my other cigars anyway because the wrapper on this cigar has been aged for 5 years, and for some time it has been aged in cognac barrels. So you can actually pick up a light hint of that barreling process. I'm gonna clip this, light it up, and come back. So everyone hopes that their cigar can burn evenly, that you get that clean burn line that you hope for, but that hasn't been the case so far. Sometimes it's the way that you toast the cigar, the way you light it, that can impact on the burn line. But in this case, I was very careful about the way I toasted it and lighted it, and it still did this to me. I'm hoping it can correct itself to some degree. If not, I'm gonna have to give it a touch-up. So what's the cigar been like? A little over an inch. It had a little bit of leather up front, mild bitterness, and then I got more like a roasted coffee. And then it kind of got smooth. It smoothed out. It all kind of melded together. Just like this, a little bit of a leathery coffee, but smooth, like really refined and sort of silky. Think like whipped chocolate coffee cake or something, like whipped coffee cream. Good smoke output, great draw, great construction. Wouldn't expect anything less. The burn line has taken great strides all by itself without me touching it up, and it's shaping up to look like a well-behaved burn line now. And so we know about Arturo Fuente. I'm not gonna go on and on about Arturo Fuente. We know about him. We know about his son Carlito. We know about his daughter and his family and what they've done in helping move the company forward. But this cigar was not a mistake, but something more in the line of we have to adapt to the situation. So Hurricane George hit the Caribbean in 1998, and it destroyed a lot of things in the Dominican Republic. One of them being, not completely, but extensive damage done to Chateau de la Fuente. and they just didn't have enough wrapper tobacco for the Opus X lines. So they said, you know what we're gonna do? We are gonna use some very well aged Connecticut broadleaf wrapper on the same blend and put these cigars out using the same blend for the Opus X. So while it's the same blend, it's a really different cigar because of this wrapper. This wrapper is 5 years old, and on top of that, like I mentioned before, was aged in cognac barrels for a certain amount of time. And this barrel aging process, this method, it originated in Cuba, like everything. And in Cuba, they actually go through a couple of different stages. Cohiba line gets some barrel aging, but it's in this one specifically is cognac, so it's different. So did I put it in with the rest of the cigars in my humidor? No, I didn't. I probably could have gotten away with it, especially if it had a cellophane, but when I bought the cigar, it arrived without cellophane. So I decided to put it separately somewhere where I keep other cigars that have been barrel aged in either rum casks or cognac casks. And I do this, of course, to prevent the marrying process, but it's only going to really marry if it's been in there for several years, an extended period of time. I did intend to age this one for a few years, so I figured better to separate it. There's a heavy wood influence on this cigar. Wood, leather notes. I haven't gotten any real sweetness yet. I got that roasted coffee flavor still, very prominent. And I'm digging the cigar. I am. I'm liking it in every way. It's just very smooth, and I'm gonna keep you updated as I go along. Smoke output it's just good. It's just really good smoke output, really good draw. And another thing that I just picked up while I was smoking this cigar were some sweet creamy notes. Yeah, sweet creamy notes. I get excited when I try something that does live up to the hype, something that does satisfy all of the senses, and the aroma has picked up considerably. It's a really nice aroma. It's Dominican tobacco at its best. It's just what it is. And for the folks that are out there that haven't tried it, if you can score one of these, do so. If you can buy more than one, do so. I made the mistake of only buying one. The whole thing about aging it for a year or two, as a lot of people recommended, is it absolutely necessary? I don't particularly think it is. I kind of did it because, well, better be safe than sorry. And I do trust Half Wheel, but they're not always on point. Yeah, I said it. They're not always on point. They aren't the Bible. They make great suggestions, and they have good reviews, written reviews, and obviously they have their finger on the pulse of the tobacco industry, and you can learn a lot by reading a lot of their articles. I thoroughly recommend that. But what I do love about them is their transparency, and they will tell you if they smoked the cigar in 25-degree weather, which in one particular review was the case. And the cigar scored pretty low. And I thought to myself, dude, like, you're writing a review for Half Wheel. You should not be out in 25-degree cold. You should have somewhere warm, somewhere neutral to smoke that cigar and give it a thorough review, and not have to consider the fact that maybe your review was off because you were in 25-degree weather. And if anybody knows about reviewing cigars in extreme conditions, I can tell you I know. And I point it out quite often. And I even have set rules for myself. I won't post a review of a cigar if the temperature is under 40 degrees. I think in the past, years, maybe a year or two ago, I did one or two that it was in that 20 to 35 degree range, and I pointed that out as well in the review. But I also made a mental note that this should not happen again. If I'm gonna come out and smoke the cigar, fine, I'll do it for myself. I'll rob myself of the flavors or whatever else I may be missing out on. But I'm not going to do that to you, the viewer, who is expecting a good review on a cigar, and have that put into the equation. I'm not going to do that. Coffee, sweet notes coming in, the leather's gone, and woodiness, extreme amount of wood is coming in, and cedar notes. That's what I'm getting. I'll be right back. It is really a pleasure to smoke this cigar. It has that woody cedar influence and the sweet notes. I haven't got much creaminess, but it's been like a silky chocolate pudding. I've gotten very little pepper from this cigar so far. I thought I might get a little bit, but I haven't gotten any. And another thing is burning really slowly. It's a slow burner, but the draw has remained true to form, and there are no squishy parts on this cigar, none whatsoever. It's just well constructed. What can I say? I mean, there's another one that I think I'm far enough in the cigar to say, hey, this is a winner. Yeah. Sweet, woody, hints of cedar. A dream. I'll be back. And one thing I want to make very clear is that this cigar was aged for 2 years after purchase, and it was already sporting an aged wrapper with some aged tobacco in it. Despite that, I didn't really get any of those typical barnyard flavors that one may associate with aged tobacco. Now, I don't know exactly. I know they're following the blend of the Opus X line, which would mean somewhere between 6 and 8 year old tobacco, but the barrel aging process and the choice of wrapper definitely impacted the overall flavor profile of this particular cigar. So it's not a typical Opus X flavor profile, but it is definitely meeting that quality that we expect from the super premium cigars that Arturo Fuente puts out by way of Carlito Fuente Jr. So I'm just gonna wrap this one up and say, look for the cigar. This is one worth searching for. Don't go crazy. Just, do your due diligence and try to find the cigar. Like I paid $12 for it, but I can go on the record to say that I would probably, if I saw it for $16, $17, I'd probably pay that as well. That's just me. But if you can find it for under $20, do so. I don't think it's a cigar that would constitute paying over $20 for. Don't get ripped off. And usually you won't get ripped off because this cigar, when available, is going to be in that range, 12 to 15. So get it if you can. Tell me what you think about it. If you happen to have if you tried it, let me know what you think about it. I really like it. I just think that it's really smooth, hits all the right notes. Would it have been this good if I didn't lay it down for a year or two? I don't know. That's the beauty of aging certain things. In some ways, you know, if I would have bought two and smoked one right away, I would have had those notes for comparison, but I didn't. So this is where we stand. Aged 2 years, Arturo Fuente, Anejo, Reserva, number 60. One for the books. This one's worth seeking out. Thank you for watching. Till next time on Backyard Cigars.